and welcome to our 31st Open Mic Night. If you want to follow along, you can go to bit.ly/ECRlogs. Again, that's bit.ly/ECRlogs. Click on Open Mic Night, and you can follow along with us. Tonight we have Jason, K4KU, and Mark, KE2EDS, helping in the Zoom room. Net control will be handled by myself, K4GDS Gil, and Josh, KE7WIL. Before we get started, a couple announcements just about tomorrow. 20 meter net tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on 14.317 plus minus. And tomorrow evening in the Zoom room is our town hall meeting. Always creative hour to however long we end up going. So drop by and join us and throw in your thoughts or just listen. A reminder, the is open at 716-79050. Text us your call sign, and only your call sign will get you on the log. You can also send your call sign to us via email. Just put your call sign to text@ecr.radio. With that all said, we'll start with some mobile check-ins. So if you're mobile or short timer, give us your call sign, please, twice and slowly.
This is November 2, Delta Mike Hotel N2DMH, Dave, Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Whiskey 4 Alpha Tango Yankee W4ATY. Out in Rupert, Georgia. Be mobile, short time. Good evening, everybody. M6QDY, M6QDY.
Okay, any other mobiles before we get started? Mobiles twice and slowly.
KB1NIJ, KB1NIJ, Josh Shelburne in and out.
Okay, let's hold it up there. We had Josh, KB1NIJ from Shelburne, Vermont, was in and out. N6QDY, David from Sacramento, California. W4ATY, Alton from Rupert, Georgia. N2DMH. David, looks like you're new to the system from Virginia Beach. We'll get back to you here in just a second. And on the text line, we had KQ8U, Bob from Ecorse, Michigan. So let's run our mobiles first. David, that's up to you. If you have a valid email address on QRZ, we'll send you a welcome letter. If not, or anyway, you can go to eastcoastreflector.com and find out all about us. So our question tonight, guess I should have covered that. Is there something about ham radio that confuses you? Is there something about ham radio that confuses you? So David, how about you? Do you get confused by something in ham radio?
Using my phone right now. I was in my car for a minute, so I was mobile, but it's what is this app called? Using Droid Star right now, and I'm learning how to do it, and it's a little confusing how to do it. It's very tedious and antiquated, it seems, but yeah, I would have to say this at the moment, but I'm to work, so that's a good sign.
Well, it might be confusing you, but you got it working, and that's the end goal. Thanks for joining us tonight. Next on the list is W4ATY, Alton in Rupert, Georgia. What about ham radio confuses you? Alton, are you still with us? He commented short, so we'll mark him as in and out and move on down the list. Next is David, Sacramento, California, N6QDY. Is there anything about ham radio that confuses you, David?
Hello, Gil, Mark, and everybody in the Zoom control room and in the net. I'm new to this All-Star stuff, so I'm still trying to understand some of the terminology, stuff like that. So I'm still learning it. I had a company, ClearNode, basically just build it up for me. I want to build my own so I can understand it better. So yeah, a little bit. Well, I'm new to All-Star and stuff like that, and nodes. So that's a little confusing in terms of the terminology and whatnot. So yes, N6QDY.
Thank you, David. We got you down for All-Star, and the ClearNode's a wonderful device. I'm actually talking to you through one right now. Great way to get started. We had Josh, KB1NJ, I think I already mentioned, was in and out. We've had two more check-ins from the text lines. Let me acknowledge them. KQ4GLY, Chris, Harris, Florida, and KF4ACB, Terry in Harrogate, Tennessee. Before I run them, are there any general radio check-ins? General radio check-ins now, twice and slowly, please.
Charlie Mike Tango, Kilo 2, Charlie Mike Tango. Station W5 Bravo Charlie, W5 Bravo Charlie Mobile.
For OSU, not for Ohio State, short on time. Good evening, everybody. We're down.
Hey, let's hold it up there because we had a mobile and a short on time, and get them real quick. W5BC, William, looks like you're new to the system, from Loverton, Texas, and N4OSQ, Jerry from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So, William, let's start with you. If you have on QRZ, we'll send you a welcome letter, and you can always go to eastcoastreflector.com to find out all about us. But is there anything about ham radio that confuses you?
W5BC, good afternoon, or good evening, our time, I guess, yeah. And thank you very much for picking me up. Yeah, I'm not long in here, about another 10 minutes and I'll be out. But what confuses me is all these new radios with too many daggone menus to go through to find out how to make something work.
Okay, we got you down for new radio menus. You must be using Yaesu like I do. They got challenging menus. Someone there needs to learn how to write them. Next on the list was Jerry, was also short on time, in for OSU. Jerry, is there anything about ham radio that confuses you?
When people turn off their sets at night and go to fire them up the next morning, why do they have to sit there and junk and redial and reset and do everything necessary to reprogram the radio the next day? It hasn't changed since they turned it off at night. This is N4 OSU.
Definitely understand where you're coming from on that. So this is learning to trust your equipment a little bit. So let's, we've had one more text check-in, WBA-QDF, Dave in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Let's run up to the top of this list and work these. Top of the list was KQ8U, Bob in Ecorse, Michigan. Bob, is there anything about ham radio that confuses you?
Evening, Gil, and the rest of it. What confuses me is whatever I happen to be trying to work on. It's input if either my antenna's not working, and working on DMR right now. It just, I just had problems with the program and the radio. I just chug through it. It's confusing, but I work my way through it. There's people I can call to help me through it. Have a good night, everybody. KQ8U out.
Okay, Bob, thanks for checking in. And understand that whatever's not working. Next down the list is Josh, or no, Josh is out, sorry about that. Next is Terry in Harrogate, Tennessee, KF4 ACB. Is there anything about ham radio that confuses you?
Good afternoon and good night, because I don't know who might be listening or where they are. But I'm 71 years old, so I stay in pretty much a constant state of confusion. But I really like the reply about not turning the radios off at night. That's something that I don't do. I leave mine on all the time. And of course, as soon as I get on here and start talking, every radio in the house starts firing up. But the biggest thing that confuses me about ham radio, and I witnessed this firsthand, it's not so much the technology, although that's a mind-boggling thing too. But when I got my license, I of course had a technician license, and wasn't really that welcomed into the hobby because, well, it's been 30 years ago. People were upset about getting rid of the code. And then it continued on when they got rid of it. I didn't have to do my 20 words a minute. I had my 15, got my extra class. But what truly confuses me is we are all a brotherhood, a sisterhood, and we are a service and we are a hobby. I do not understand why there are people who would be unwelcoming and unfriendly to those getting into the hobby. I will never understand that.
Thank you for checking in. At least the East Coast Reflector is generally not like that. I think we're a very welcoming community here. This is K4 GDS, and next on our list was KQ4 GLY. Chris in Parrish, Florida. Chris, is there anything about ham radio that confuses you?
Good evening, Gil and everyone on the net. The thing that confuses me is FT8. How does it work? What does it do? That's what confuses me.
Well, I can certainly understand that. I decided to learn FT8 a couple of years ago because I wanted some activations in South America. I wanted the extra range for it. It was not the easiest thing in the world to figure out. Next on the list, and I don't know that I acknowledge him, is K2CMT. Mike, my neighbor from the north, all 20 miles out of DeBerry, Florida. Mike, is there anything about ham radio that confuses you?
Everything. Pretty much everything. But the one thing that I'm getting, since moving over to the HS side here the last few weeks, trying to learning a lot about that, is I don't understand why I think the higher the frequencies refer to the lower bands. They just don't make good sense.
Okay, Mike, we got you down for the relationship between bands and frequencies. And I remember you telling me you were on HF and we were talking about POTA the other night. I also remember when I first met you, you told me you didn't have time for HF. And you're strictly VHF and UHF guy. So glad to see you expanding into it. Last on this is WB8ODF, Dave in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Is there anything about ham radio that confuses you?
Well, good evening from Ypsilanti, southeastern Michigan. I'm Dave. And if you talk about ham radio, everything confuses me. Everything. And I got my license in 1969. This is Dave, WB8ODF. Thanks for doing the open mic night.
Dave, thanks for checking in with us tonight. Before we go out and get more here, a couple reminders. With the weekend coming up, Friday night's Youth Net is at 8 p.m. Still working on a new format there. Try to get third-party youth involved. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is our 40-meter net at 7.245. And Saturday night trivia net at 11 p.m. right here on the East Coast Reflector. The text check-in line is open at 716. No. Jeez. So, yeah, 716-317-9050. Drew a blank on that one for a second. And let's go with Any radio check-ins, twice and slowly, please.
N1 YKT. N1 YKT. KE7 WIL.
In and out. 4 X in and out.
KE7 WIL. KE7 WIL.
Okay, let me acknowledge these. KE7WIL, Josh in Phoenix, Arizona, and N1YKT, Johnny in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and there was one other one there that doubled up with us. I think it was an in and out. If you could come back, give us your call sign twice and slowly, please.
W4 PPX, W4 PPX, down in Hollywood, in and out.
Okay, thank you, Don, W4PPX. We've got you in and out. Appreciate you checking in with us. Are there any other general radio check-ins, twice and slowly, please?
Number 2, Zulu Victor November. N2ZVN.
AO4QMM.
Hello, Romeo 4, Echo Papa, Quebec, KR4EPQ.
We had a call sign ending in QMM. I think it was KO4QMM. Is that right?
QSL Gil, KO4QMM. My finger fell off the button.
Okay, thank you for coming back. And we've also got KR4EPQ. And don't think I acknowledged N2ZVN, Allen in Kendall, New York. Run this list. Starting at the top is Johnny from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, N1YKT. Johnny, is there anything about ham radio that confuses you?
Well, it may be a negative thing, but why repeater owners put up repeaters and choose to keep them quiet? That definitely confuses me about ham radio. If you have it, use it. That's what it's there for. 7-3, thanks for doing the net, man. N1YKT.
Can certainly understand what you're talking. At least a dozen repeaters in Orlando. There's one that's active, and that's the ECR. Johnny, thanks for checking in with us. And next on the list is my co-net control here, KE7WIL, Josh out of Phoenix, Arizona. Josh, what about ham radio confuses you?
Wow, it sounds like this whole thing has turned into a negative fest, so let me add to it. What confuses me is why ham radio etiquette says you can't key up and say this is or this is followed by your name, when it would save a total of about 5 million hours per day, this is per day, of wasted transmit time with both people doubling when they're on a half duplex radio or system. I'm so confused by it. KE7WIL.
Well, that's a good one. I'll leave people thinking here. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for hosting or controlling that open mic night with me tonight. Next on the list is N2ZVN, Allen out of Kendall, New York. Allen, what about ham radio confuses you?
Well, good evening, Gil. Everyone on the net. Well, I'd have to say DMR. I don't know if so much confuses me or just confuses me or, frustrates me. Probably all of the above. Maybe it's because I only play with it at night when I'm tired and I can't think anymore. And 2ZVN, back to net. Everyone have a good night.
I get that one. I've looked at DMR once or twice on the site. I didn't want to be confused by it and walked away. So, congratulate you for taking it on. Next on the list is Roger, one of our own here, KO4QMM out of Umatilla, Florida. Roger, what confuses you about ham radio?
And open mic night crew. Not really. I guess propagation. Propagation is where I'm going. There's a lot of things, but propagation is the main one that comes to mind. And enjoy it. I wouldn't have it no other way. Keeps it interesting. Back to you, Gil. Thanks for keeping it fun. KO4QMM clear. 7-3.
Thanks, Roger. Got you down for propagation and appreciate you checking in with us. Last on this list was KR4EPQ, Sydney out of Huntersville, North Carolina. Looks like you're new to the system. If you have a good email on QRZ, we'll be happy to send you a welcome letter. And you can always go to eastcoastreflector.com to find out all about us. But for tonight, can you tell us what confuses you about ham radio?
It really, what confused me is that there's so much to learn and so much unknown. The more we learn, the more we don't know. I got all my 3 tickets in 3 months. I get my tech license in June, my general in August, and my expert in September. I'm 74 years old. Although I tried to learn CW back in 92, then I failed. I never went back. But so yeah, the biggest thing is Mother Nature. I thought, we're dealing with man-made product, and then we got Mother Nature comes in all the electromagnetic field, and yeah, that confused me.
Okay, Sydney, we will put you down for Mother Nature. Certainly understand that one. Appreciate you checking in for your first time with us, and come back next week. We have one text check-in here, KC2G, and Joel out of East Hank, I know I butchered that, New York. This is K4GDS, but let's go ahead and take some general check-ins, radio check-ins. Can you give us your call signs twice and slowly, please?
Kilo Jupiter 4 Zulu Foxtrot Michael. Kilo Jupiter 4 Zulu Foxtrot Michael.
Okay, we got Robert there, KJ4 ZFM out of Deltona, Florida, but there was one other station that doubled up with them. Can you come back with your call signs twice and slowly, please?
G7 JBL.
Okay, we got KG7 JBL. We think that's right. Gary, did we get that right?
KG7 JBL Gary. I'm in Tulsa, Arizona. Yes, you got it right.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there any other check-ins? I got time for a couple more here before I hand this over. Okay, let me run what I've got here. Top of this list is KC2GRN, Joel out of Yephank. You gotta tell me if I got that right, New York. What confuses you about ham radio?
Good evening, Gil, and everybody on the net, KC2GRN. What confuses me, gets me confused frequently, is when people talk about frequency and meters. They kind of mix the two when they talk about different transmissions and whatever. And I find it difficult to keep track of, is it 2 meters or 144? Is it 440 or is it 70 centimeters or whatever, It's just my own, the way my mind is wrapped, I guess. That's the problem, I suppose. Anyway, I don't have any real issues with ham radio. I mean, hey, this is a great hobby. Love it. Anyway, back to the net.
I don't understand what's so confusing about 14 is 20, 17 is 18, and 10 is 28. I mean, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Appreciate you checking in there, and I think Mike was also with you on that one. Next on the list is Robert out of Deltona, Florida, KG4ZFM. Robert, what about ham radio confuses you?
My goodness, good evening to everyone on the net, and thank you for welcoming me in. You guys, I happened to just turn it on and hear the question, and and the first thing that came to mind was, I've heard the answer quite a few times already. A little bit of everything. Yeah, honestly, a little bit of everything. I'm just like a couple other gentlemen. I'm still trying to pick up on some of that Morse code myself on the side a little bit, but well, sooner or later I'll get out of getting my general and get things to kicking with my station over here. I thank you much for bringing me in, and everybody have a blessed evening. Kilo Jupiter 4, Zulu Foxtrot Michael. Have a blessed evening.
Yeah, a little technical difficulty. Okay, I think I'm back now. Can you guys hear me now? Sorry about that. I'm not sure quite what happened there. Had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're back, and let's continue on down the list with KG7JBL, Gary out of Tolleson, Arizona. What confuses you about ham radio? Gary, I think you might say I'm the one that's confusing about ham radio. Are you still out there with us, or did I confuse you? Okay, I must have lost Gary on that. We can put him down as an in or out, or Josh can try him here in a few minutes. I think that's pretty much about the end of my half hour. I appreciate everyone that checked in with me. I enjoyed it. And I'm going to hand this over to Josh to take over net control. This was K4 GDS.
All right, thank you very much, Gil. And let's go ahead and continue this. I'm looking for some more check-ins. Call sign twice, please. This is KE7WIL.
G5CC. G5CC.
Kilo 7 Echo, India Echo. Kilo 7 Echo, India Echo.
Quebec Lima Bravo. November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo. November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo.
Okay, let's see who we got in the log from this last round. First of all, we have an in and out K4GDS. I have HE out of Florida, N6LB out of Washington. So I'm sorry, before that there was Roger and then Lisa. And then we've got Wayne out of Phoenix, K7EIE, and George AG5CC out of Arkansas. Also adding to that KE2EDS out of New York. That's Mark. All right, let's get going here with AG5CC. George, good evening, and the question of the night is there something about ham radio that confuses you?
Good evening. Thanks for checking me in tonight. Yes, there is. It's the menu thing again. It confused me why every radio menu looks like it's designed by a committee of engineers who never met each other. So put me on that list. And thanks for doing the net. This is AG560.
Okay, thank you, George. I appreciate you being here tonight. Another vote for the menu on radios. If you want to make it look way better, get any programming, the radio programming software, and you can make it look just like a spreadsheet. How exciting. Wayne, out of Phoenix, first time here tonight. Thanks for joining us. And the question again is there something about ham radio that confuses you? K7EIE, over to you.
Okay, 7 Echo, India Echo here, and welcome to the group. I hope everybody's doing well. I think some of the very simple things is just compartmentalize the information, Josh. As an example, they have 20 meters as listed, or 10 meters, or 2 meters, or whatever, but they don't mention that that's actually the wavelength of that band. And so, unless you know that, you would not know that. And there's so many things like that they do, and so they compartmentalize these things. Like the fellow just before me said, a bunch of engineers developed this, but they didn't really consider that somebody that knows nothing about the math or nothing about the science of it at all, it would take them a long time to figure that out unless they had a good Elmer who shared it with them. So that's my thing with it. If you operate on a technician license, there's only so many frequencies you can actually operate on. It should just say that in plain, simple English. If you're a technician, it's this. If you're a general, it's that. This is voice, this is CW, and be very specific by band. I think a lot more people would enjoy it. They made it just a little more straightforward. Anyway, Josh, that's my thoughts on those simple parts. This is K7 Echo and the Echo back to you, and I hope everyone has a great weekend coming up.
Oh yeah, Wayne, it's sure to be a wet one in our neighborhood. Okay, thanks for joining tonight. And 7-3 and 6LB, Lisa, another new person tonight out of Washington. Good evening, Lisa. Is there something that's confusing about ham radio to you?
Kilo Quebec 4, Sierra, November Yankee, monitoring.
Okay, monitoring station, we're in the middle of the net. Please stand by and you can check in a little bit. But N6LB, I believe it was, that's all I have from the call sign. So was there anything else, any call sign close to that? And if not, Lisa, are you there? We'll go ahead and move on then. N4RAT Roger out of Fort Lauderdale. Good evening. How about you? Anything that confuses you about amateur radio?
Good evening, Josh. Thank you for conducting the net. November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo. Yes, many things. One confusion is regarding ham radio is why I believe spending more money will make me a better operator. And for those that run nets but don't have a cousin Vicky with a computer, saying this is, then pausing before giving a call is beneficial. In my case, I say this is station before my pause to avoid a perfect double. November 4, Roger Ham Enthusiast, return to net.
All right, Roger, just remember, you're still a rebel. Thanks for being here tonight. Good to have you. K4GDS, Gil? Oh, I think we just heard from him. What about you? Do I have to repeat the question? You only said it 25 times.
Well, I think I agreed with a lot of people. I'm not sure if I threw mine in. Mine would have to be one of two. I don't understand how Vicky pulls call signs out of thin air sometimes. But I thought my real answer was going to be a big one. I hadn't heard it yet tonight, and that's CW. I can't learn that stuff. I've tried. It was easier to learn Portuguese than try to learn CW. K4GDS, back to net.
Yeah, you know, I'm with you on that, Gil. And one of my probably like my third grade or fourth grade uncle, Samuel F.B. Morse, and I did not get that gene passed. Thanks, appreciate it. KE2EDS, Mark out of Elma, New York. Good evening. How about you? Something confusing you about ham radio these days?
Well, good evening, Josh and Gil and everyone else on the net. I'm going to go with a little bit of everything. I was a ham back in the early 80s. I let it slide, and now I've gotten back into it. No, my goodness, a lot has changed, but it's a lot of fun learning it. Have a great evening. Enjoying the net. KE2EDS.
All right, back to you, Mark. Do you operate a T8? Michigan, this is KE7WIL. What about you? Something confusing you?
Well, hello there, Josh. Good hearing you. Good seeing you in the Zoom room. I could just wave to you there. I don't know if we're allowed to repeat an item. I suppose we can. But I got to dovetail with Johnny. The quiet repeaters is something that will never make any sense to me. I've even had one guy try to sort of explain it to me, and it really made no sense whatsoever. So I think if something makes no sense whatsoever, you can call that confusing. So that's going to be not my number one. Same thing Johnny said in the first half. So there it is. Everybody have a good night. Thanks for doing the net. KF8DRJ, back to net.
Well, Doug, have you seen the cost of electricity these days? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. All right, let me give a synopsis of what the winning answers are. Right now, so far, the winner with 5 answers is everything, followed by, it looks like, menu options. That is a close second with a couple of them. And then quiet repeaters now, that's a 2. So those are the leaders. I don't mean to influence you, but everything's on who's going to be the winner. I'm already going to call it, and I think it's going to be everything is confusing about ham radio. So it's good to know I'm in good company. But see if that plays out. I need to take some more check-ins. Please give us your call sign twice and slowly.
K7FPS, K7FPS.
Whiskey Bravo 5 India Tango Tango, WB5I TT Mobile.
A5SG, Alpha 5, Sierra Golf on the handheld.
Kilo Romeo 4, Echo Zulu Romeo, KR4 EZR.
Alpha 7, November, Romeo, 7, November, Romeo, Charlie.
Whiskey 7, Fox Tango Mike.
Alpha 7, November, Romeo, Charlie, VA7 NRC.
All right, good turnout there. I'm going to go backwards. So, last call sign, a lot of static on you. Let me acknowledge VA7 NRC. Brendan, we got you in there actually twice. Better on the second time. But there was, I think, a KF4 call sign, something like that, right at the end there. Can you try again?
Kilo Mike 4,
Okay, I copied Kilo Mike 4 Victor Tango Mike, or was it Oscar at the end? Oscar. All right, as usual, Mark has better ears than I do. All right, we got you in there, Dennis. Stand by. W7FTM, Alex out of Scottsdale. Good to hear you here tonight. BA7NRC. Brendan and KR4EZR, I believe that's Happy out of Florida. AA5SG, Steve out of Missouri, Mississippi, excuse me. Let's see, or is that Missouri? Oh boy, I just screwed up there, I think. WB5ITT, Chris out of Texas, and K7FTS, I believe. Let me check, that was the first check-in. I've got K7FTS, is that correct?
That's correct. Kilo 7, Foxtrot, Papa Sierra, Fred in Reno.
Okay, got it corrected there, Fred, out of Reno. Well, let's throw it on over to you then. So the question of the night is there something about ham radio that confuses you? What do you say?
Well, before I answer the question, one is probably a research project for HF. I remember reading it in one of my manuals. Certain frequencies are upper sideband, some are lower LSB. The ARRL website, and I can't find that information. Anyway, I'm going to go back. I'm going to throw a vote in for everything. Whenever I want to do something, you know, I'll pull out the manual if I'm doing something different. So I'm going to go with everything. K7FPS, Fred in Reno. Thank you, Josh, and everyone else on the net.
All right, Fred, thanks for helping to vote for everything out of Nevada there. You have a great night, 73 to you. Let's go next to WB5ITT, Chris out of Beaumont, Texas. What say you? Is there something about ham radio that confuses you?
Well, yes and no. I've been licensed 52 years and got my novice at age 14. And back then, people mentored and we learned from each other and we worked together.
Nowadays, that doesn't seem to be happening. I see egos and personalities getting in the way. In fact, a good friend of mine over here in my area, K5EMS, says PEP, people, egos, and personalities. And boy, he's right. They just, you try to get people to work together, and those that want to control everything tend to call you names or, say you're a shady character or lie about you outright, just to get you in trouble. I just don't understand it. It confuses me out of the heck. People who have no qualifications getting into roles that they shouldn't be, only because of who they're kissing up to, I guess, and that's put it mildly. I've been in telecommunications, broadcast engineering most of my life. In broadcast situations, we had a station that had a problem. They could call one of the other stations and say, hey, have you got this piece of equipment? Yeah, sure, no problem, and borrow it, and they were back on the air. Even though we're competitors, we still work together to serve the public. But unfortunately, in amateur radio, that mentality's gone away, and I have to shake my head over it. I really feel like things should be different, but unfortunately they're not, and maybe it's just the way the world is nowadays. I don't know. That confuses the heck out of me. Anyhow, enough of my rambling. Hope everybody's having a good hump day evening. WB5ITT, back to net. All right, when you said people that are unqualified to be doing jobs, I think you were talking about me, or was it Gil? KE7WIL here. Thanks for your comments tonight, 73. All right, next up is going to be AA5SG, Steve, out of Mississippi, right? Oh boy, you got to help me out with that, Steve. I should know that. I went to school. That's our school system for you. What about you? We see what confuses me, state abbreviations. What confuses you about amateur radio?
Well, okay, it's Mike Sierra is Mississippi, M.O. is Missouri, so just remember that. What I have to say is that I'm confused about is, and this goes along, sort of, I'll agree with what Chris was just saying a minute ago, but folks not understanding Part 97, the basis and purpose of amateur radio. That's something that people need to look at, and particularly as indicated through the net tonight, C, which is in the basis and purpose, item C, which is encouragement and improvement of the amateur service through rules which for providing advancing skills in both communications and technical phases of the art. And D, expansion of the existing reservoir within the amateur radio service of trained operators, technicians, and electronics experts. So I got my novice back in 1976, and we did have Elmers. We didn't have the internet, but it's very easy to get a ham radio license today, and a lot of people aren't concerned with learning more about amateur radio, including if they folks want to build antennas, they need to understand the inversion between wavelength and frequency. So you need to know the wavelength of the frequency you're operating if you're going to build an antenna. So this is my 2 cents, and I thank you very much. And that's
KE7WIL. All right, maybe he timed out whatever he was on, but we got him down again, I think, for the wavelength answer there. All right, let's get to some more of our check-ins here, and up next is KR4EZ. Happy. Thank you for being here tonight, and our question is there something about ham radio that confuses you? Not about other people. Let's try to keep, as a matter of fact, if we can just change the question slightly, is there something about ham radio that confuses you with unicorns and rainbows? Over to you, Happy.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to have to say go with everything. Even a lot of the manufacturers' model numbers, and like as was mentioned before, also the different bands where you can transmit and not transmit on, it should be a little easier. Maybe they have to dumb it down for me, but I would say everything, a little bit of everything. Thank you. Back to you.
Okay, a little bit of everything. And, you know, I've heard a lot of folks talk about wavelengths versus frequency, and I now have to change my answer. If you could change my answer, it is the Yaesu band plan. All right, Yaesu band plan. Very confusing. VA7NRC Brendan out of British Columbia, Canada. Good evening. What say you about something that confuses you about ham radio? All right. Well, it's bedtime just about, right? Let's move on. W7FDM Alex, not bedtime for us yet. What's yours? There's got to be something that confuses you out there, right? Like, how come more people aren't on your trivia net?
No, that's fairly self-explanatory, but I would say the manually programming an old Bofang radio, having to enter all the data twice, and I could probably do it, but thank God for Chirp, so I don't have to. And other than that, I always get Halloween and Valentine's Day confused. They're both about candy and being something you're not. Thanks, Josh W7FD.
Office 7 November Romeo Charlie.
Okay, Alex, thank you very much. I never heard it described that way, but that is very accurate. 73 to you. All right, Brendan, I heard you back in there, so we'll go back to you for your answer. Is there something confusing about ham radio for you?
Victor Alpha 7 November Romeo Charlie. Yeah, I was taken out by a burst of noise there, so thanks for coming back to me. Well, there sure is something that confuses me about ham radio. And in fact, I would say it confused me about ham radio before I even knew what ham radio was. And that's because what I understand is how ham radio has such little recognition. Nobody knows what amateur radio is. If you ask anybody under a certain age, random on the street, they will have never heard of amateur radio. Ham radio, never heard of it. Not even a glimmer. Not even once in conversation sometimes. I was designing Yagis for television antenna over-the-air reception with no knowledge of what ham radio was. Somehow I'm able to do all this research on the internet about antennas and never stumble into anything about amateur radio. I cannot fathom how underknown it is. I don't understand how people aren't doing more public outreach, why the clubs aren't more involved with the communities, with the scouts of here, Boy Scouts of Canada or the United States. Obviously they have Boy Scouts of America as well over there. I think, I'm pretty sure they do. So I wouldn't know why there isn't more of that. I was a Boy Scout for years and years and years. Why was there never a ham at our Boy Scout group? These are the questions I would like answered. Victor Alpha 7 November Romeo Charlie. It's an amazing hobby. So it would be great to have been in it for a lot more years than I have been. I just wish I had heard about it sooner.
Man, you've got some zeal for radio, and I love it. By the way, I'm going to be going on the 18th to help out on Joda Jamboree on the air. and I'll be demonstrating receiving an SSTV image from the ISS. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then whatever else they want me to do, I'm their slave. All right, 73, good to have you here tonight. Dennis, and by the way, you were brand new, so thanks for being here. KE8VKY looks familiar. Is that Vicky out of, is that Missouri or Michigan? Oh, it's Michigan. Hi, Vicky. What do you think? Something confusing about ham radio for you? This is KE7WIL.
The only thing I don't understand is why people are rude. Why bother even getting out of bed? But that's all. K8VKY.
Okay, sounds good, Vicky. Rude people. All right, I did skip over Dennis. Thank you in the control room for helping me out. KM4VTO. You're new from Florida. Let's go ahead and cue the confetti. And so, what do you think? Something confusing you about ham radio? Let's try again. KM4VTO. Dennis, are you still there? No joy. All right, let me try to take 2 more check-ins. I'll take 2 more. Call sign twice.
AK60F, Alpha Kilo 6 Charlie Foxtrot.
Bravo, November 7, Foxtrot, Golf, Papa.
Okay, let's stop right there. Let's see, all right, so I'm copying a couple here. I got, it sounded like Alpha Kilo 6, Alpha Charlie Foxtrot, is that correct?
Alpha Kilo 6 Charlie Foxtrot.
Got you. We just added an extra digit. Thank you very much. That's Ed out of Florida. And then I got a November 7 something. Come back. All right. I still got to fill another moment, so I'll take 1 more.
Kilo Echo 8, Golf, Lima, Bravo.
Okay, KE8GLB, I believe it's pronounced Chavez, out of Michigan. Thanks for being here tonight. See you in the Zoom room as well. So let's go to Ed, AK6CF. Is there something about ham radio that confuses you?
Well, actually, no. Everything is actually available on the web in regards to alleviating any confusion. It's just some attitude out there needs to be resolved, and it would be good if the examiners put in a couple of paragraphs on common courtesies on operating on radio for the exams. That way people realize it is important to be courteous. After all, that's what we're all about. AK60F, and have a pleasant evening.
All right, Ed. Attitude. Ed, you do realize, though, that being courteous is just people's way of covering up that they hate you. Thanks for being here tonight. Good to have you. Let's go for it. Looks like, 1 minute left. KEAGLB, and then it's your favorite part of the net, the end. Is it Chavez or Chavis out of Michigan? Good evening. And what are you going to end us with here? What confuses you the most about ham radio?
All right, this is KE8GLB in northern Michigan. No, I'm a very knowledgeable, and I've been studying radio for a long time, especially amateur radio. Actually, I'm a bit overdo it a lot. 20-some radios is just a one too many, apparently. All I actually wanted to do was, there's not too much I'm confused about. I'm extremely well-versed in all things, in all modes, in programming and all that stuff. But I am confused. I don't hear enough praise for you guys. You guys do a hard job out here. You do great work.
I've been to several nets now, and I've enjoyed them all. So I just wanted to spend a couple seconds and say special kudos to the whole crew over there that makes these nets happen. Thank you for being there. And you have a fantastic night from KEHLP.
You know, really, been in the Zoom room, look around, nobody's doing nothing, just all sitting here. Thanks for being here today. I appreciate it, and good to have you here as well. All right, let's look at the final results. It looks like everything, which is a purple graphy line, let me see the exact number, everything with 22.6% of the vote, that's 7 votes. That is the winner tonight, followed by Quiet Repeater, it looks like, at 6.5%, and then also Menus on Radios also tied for 6.5%, and then apparently the rest nobody cared about enough to comment. So thanks for being here tonight, Gil. Thanks for the first half of the net, and thank you everybody in the control room, including Mark, and let's see, Jason was supposed to be hosting. I guess he's not anymore. Somebody else took it. Oh well, you know who you are. And we'll go ahead and close it up for the night. We'll catch you, someone will be here, a couple people will be here next Wednesday. Remember, you can sign up for this. Just go to our website and check everything out that you could do for this organization, the East Coast Reflector. And this is KE7WIL, returning the system and the repeaters back to non-net use.